Hello, good evening and welcome to Camnet TV Main News. To present, my name is Jeffrey Ziambo. Top stories in the news tonight. ECZ officials walk out of the stage after a query from stakeholders. The USA advises the Zambian government not to interrupt internet connectivity. MMD, PEP, Socialist and Golden Party concede defeat. And in international news, civilian authorities return to Mozambique city retaken from rebels. And in sports news, OYDC Zambia is set to resume all sporting activities.
Are you a small to medium enterprise looking to advertise your products and services within your community and across Zambia? In these economic times, we are here to help you grow your business. Advertise with us on Camnet Market. Camnet Market is offering lower rates for prime time advertising between 06 to 18 hours every day to give your business an edge under the new normal and beyond. For more details, contact us on the following numbers: 097 975 3010 or 096 296 5883, as well as 096 244 726. You can also reach us via email on info@camnettvafrica.com. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
Hello, once again, another news in detail. The Electoral Commission of Zambia has assured the nation that the commission is committed to releasing the results within the earlier stipulated time of 72 hours. Speaking at a media briefing Friday afternoon, ECZ Vice Chairperson Emily Sikazwe notes that despite the delays, the commission will make it within the stipulated time. Dr. Sikazwe has since called for calm among members of political parties and the general public at large. Meanwhile, UPND Chairperson for Elections Garin Kombo says it is unacceptable for ECZ Chief Electoral Officer Patrick Nshindano to call them ignorant of the electoral process. Mr. Nkombo then told Mr. Nshindano to be respectful to electoral stakeholders. Meanwhile, the electoral officers walked out before announcing the first results after being queried by the opposition party member Garin Kombo.
The results will be announced, and you may think that we are delaying deliberately for one reason or the other. We have no interest in who wins or not. What is important for the Commission is to carry out its mandate as per the Constitution, which the Zambian people gave us to work with. We are Zambians after all, as commissioners. The interest of our nation is our first priority. Let it not be said that it is because of us that Zambia was set on fire.
I'm still addressing you.
Hello, don't go.
Excuse me.
Don't walk.
We are still addressing the commission. We are still addressing the commission, please.
What's the utter disrespect you are talking about? That is not right.
I was going to ignore that. But I think young Nshindano must learn to be respectful, because he called us ignorant. He said I didn't hear the word primitive. He called us ignorant about the process. Now, whose duty is it to make people less ignorant about the process? If we were ignorant, truly ignorant, would he have then not continued with the process after we raised our concern? I think everybody saw the substance, including him. So it is very unfair for Mr. Nshindano to call us ignorant. It is very, very unfair.
We now cross over to the Mulungushi International Conference Center, which is a national toileting center, to get an update on the situation right now.
Now we have quite a number of activities that are supposed to be happening here, but not much has been said as far as with announcing the results on the part of the Electoral Commission of Zambia. Patrick Soko has been here and had at least monitored part of the drama that happened when they tried to announce the elections at 15 hours. That kindly highlights the nation with regards to exactly what happened during the update of 15 hours.
Well, the Electoral Commission of Zambia, SCZ, was scheduled to update the nation at 15 hours, as area announced in the morning. However, when at 15 hours, the ECZ did hold a meeting where they addressed some pertinent challenge issues in the electoral process that were raised during the voting process, which was on the 12th of August during the voting day. Issues that came there will include the issues of to do with the ink that had run out in some polling station, as well as incidents of accusations of pre-marked ballots. But those incidents were addressed by the commission, and those issues of suspected pre-marked ballot were also not true, according to the commission. But at the 16 hours, the 16 hours briefing, Sharon, that's where issues came in. That's around the 16 towards 17 hours, where the commission came to update the nation regarding the results. They were going to start with 2 polling stations, and these which include FERA. Now, when they wanted to start with yes, FERA is under Lusaka province
in Luangwa.
Yeah, but you know, the problem there that emerged was that the figures that were on the G12 form were not tallying with what the ECZ was going to announce as official results. So the UPND chairperson for election, Garin Komo, raised concerns and objected. There was a counter exchange of weights between the commission as well as the stakeholders. And Sharon, it wasn't the UPND alliance alone that had those concerns. Other stakeholders, including UNIP, the People's Alliance for Change, and the Democratic Party, many other opposition political parties raised the same concern. The concern was that about 70 votes were supposed to have been allocated to the UPND candidate, but unfortunately, they were not indicated on the results, which the ECZ was scheduled to announce as official results. So actually, they came in a number of issues, including the commission trying to educate electoral stakeholders to say
how the electoral process is supposed to be conducted.
Yes.
However, more of such issues always come up when it's election time. People are agitated, especially that it has taken a bit of some time before the electoral body starts announcing these results. Counting is still underway, just for your information, in almost all the polling stations. And stakeholders this afternoon had various press briefings with regards to this whole process and the polling day. And what came out so prominent was that there was a huge turnout of voters, meaning that it would take a bit of some time for them to consolidate the figures and give the Electoral Commission of Zambia, because we've tried to move from one center to another. Counting is still underway. But obviously, the Commission will give us the update as and when the results are ready, because at the same time, you can't give results that are not accurate, that are not verified. It will take a long process for those results to be changed. Just a quick one, Patrick. When next is the Commission promising to avail us with more information on this?
In fact, that has been the concern of many stakeholders, even us in the media. We are in the dark regarding that aspect. This is among the issues which Mr. Nkombo tried to address, to say we don't know now when is going to be another another update. But again, the commission has a deadline to meet, and during the commencement of the briefing, they did announce that they were going to afford the commitment to ensure that the results, within that same time. But do you think it's feasible?
Well, with the pace at which they're moving, it seems impossible. But let's give them time and see how they're going to achieve this for. The Vice Chairperson, ECZ, clearly mentioned that they are strict on making sure that they announce the election results within 72 hours. And we are waiting upon that as media. We are on the ground, just making sure that we bring you those election updates. My name is Sharon Kalimbola, and Patrick, you want to say something?
Yeah, I wanted to just confirm something.
Okay.
Yes, in fact, we've heard that in Pulungu constituency, freedom seekers could not carry the day, and he actually accepted that, conceded defeat, and life goes on. But these are the changes that are coming with this year's election. This is a previously ruling party, a stronghold, and it wasn't easy in the past for the UPND alliance to penetrate that area. So so this election will be quite unique, and brings out a lot of dimensions. We are seeing a new political parties at least going to have a councillor, as also others will go also having a council chairpersons, even parliamentarians. So which is a good in terms of having a consolidated National Assembly, which has representation from from various stakeholders. So we're going to be updating you, like Sharon earlier indicated, on a number of issues that are unfolding in the electoral process. And as far as the counting of ballots is concerned, as they are announcing, we'll equally be crossing over to ensure that we get you updated, our dear viewers, on issues happening here at the Totaling Center at Mulungushi.
Thank you for trusting us. Over to you in the studio.
Thank you so much, Sharon and Patrick, for that update at the National Resource Center at the Mulungushi International Conference Center. Counting of ballots for presidential, parliamentary and mayoral elections for Kabwe Central is still ongoing at Broadway Secondary School, which is the Totaling Center. Kabwe Central Deputy Returning Officer Mr. Likando Nalumino has announced that for presidential ballots for 27 polling stations out of 98 so far, Hakainde Hichilema of the United Party for National Development, UPND, is leading, having polled 4,748, and followed by Edgar Lungu of the Patriotic Front, having polled 4,110. Others are Nevers Mumba for the Movement for Multi-Party Democracy, MMD, with 22. We have more in this report.
I'm at Broadway Secondary School Totaling Center, where we have received results for 27 out of 98 polling stations so far, and these are the results. For presidential, Hakainde Hichilema of the United Party for National Development, UPND, is leading, having polled 4,748, with Edgar Lungu of the Patriotic Front trailing him 4,110, with the others being Andiford Banda of PAC, who has polled 12, Charles Chanda of UPPZ, who has polled 2, Chisela Lazarus of ZUSD, who has polled 3, Hamodu Duhaibi of PNUP with 13, Kalabahari of DP with 26, Kateka Tishala of New Heritage Party with 18, Membe Fred of Socialist Party with 16, Mumba Nevers of MMD with 22, Mwamba Musonda Trevor of UNIP with 3, Kasonde Mwenda of the EFF with 1, Nirenda Steve of NAREP with 7, Silumbe Richard of Leadership Movement with 1, Sean Tembo of PEP with 0, Tonga Enoch of Third Liberation Movement with 2, and the total number of rejected ballots is 125. For parliamentary elections, the United Party for National Development, UPND, is leading so far again from the 27 out of 98 polling stations counted so far. Halwindi Krizosta of UPND has 4,778, followed by Tutanguluwe of Patriotic Front with 3,428. Chipioka Timothy, who is an independent, has 213. Mutoshi David K of DP with 48. Mwashingwele Dorothy, Socialist Party with 89. Sinyangwe Ronald of PNUP with 211. Tembo Hagra, who is an independent, has 59. Rejected number of ballots is 145. From the 27 out of 98 polling stations so far, for Kabwe Central, the United Party for National Development, UPND, again is leading in the mayoral elections, with Gary Domingo of UPND having polled 4,565, followed by Chishala Patrick of PF, who has polled 4,186. Kawe Patrick of PNUP has polled 93. Kangwa Peter of Socialist Party 69. Kasura Roy UNIP 22. Rejected ballots at 143. So keep you updated as the results continue being counted.
Operation Young Vote has challenged the Electoral Commission of Zambia to be accountable and transparent in results management of the just-ended general elections. Speaking at a meeting in Lusaka, Operation Young Vote Acting Director Isaac Mwale says there must be proper management so as to boost the confidence of the electorate and the general public, as well as to promote peaceful coexistence. And Mr. Mwale says the unfortunate incidents that happened in Kanyama compound, where a woman in Kanyama compound at Ahmadiyya polling station was turned away from voting, undermines the credibility of the Zambian police to protect the Zambian people. He says the woman was turned away because she was deemed to have already voted and her name crossed out from the voters' register when in fact not. Details in the following report.
Operations Young Vote has been participating in the election process from the pre-activities. While the Zambian people have exercised their constitutional right and anxiously await the announcement of the result on who will lead them on their next 5-year journey, Operations Young Vote says several incidences that undermine the credibility of a general election were recorded in some parts of the country on the voting day, which has now closed. The operation has expressed disappointment at some of these incidences, and one is that of a woman in Kanyama compound at Ahmadiyya polling station who was turned away from voting because she was deemed to have already voted and her name crossed out from the voter register when in fact not.
Another unfortunate incident which we witnessed as Operation Young Vote, to which our people on the ground definitely made us aware of, was a situation in Kanyama where a woman at Ahmadiyya polling station was turned away because she was deemed to have already voted and her name had already been crossed out of the voters register, when in fact she did not vote and her finger witnessed it because it wasn't painted. When she tried to get help, all she could receive were threats that she could be incarcerated instead of being given a listening ear and see how the situation could have been resolved.
Other key challenges were recorded which led to voters failing to cast their vote.
Also some of the errors which were noted across a number of polling stations regarding some of the voters who would have given the registration officers at that particular time when registration was going on, mentioning some polling stations. For instance, one instance in Shawama, someone mentioned that he needed to register at Chimwemwe, and Chimwemwe B was recorded. When he went to try and vote, it was later found that Chimwemwe B is actually in Kitwe, and that person failed to vote. That is another unfortunate instance.
It has since challenged the Electoral Commission of Zambia to be accountable and transparent in the result management of the just-ended general elections.
At ECZ, we would like to urge them to be accountable and transparent enough as they are managing these results to avoid some difficulties as well as conflicts surrounding the election results management and results. We urge them to expedite this process as much as they can so that the anxieties are managed to the levels which we can manage.
Have Zambians made the right choice? Is the answer that all awaits. Prudence Jota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
The Media Institute of Southern Africa, MISA, has called on the African Union and Southern African Development Community, SADC, to insist that government guarantees free media operation and safeguard journalists' constitutionally guaranteed right to media freedom. MISA Regional Governing Council Chairperson Gordon Mawanganidze has urged government to order the police to firmly deal with the act of lawlessness, which pose great risk to the lives of journalists, media workers, as well as their families. Mr. Mawanganidze has urged government to extensively review and repeal the laws that hinder the enjoyment of freedom of expression, assembly and choice that are guaranteed by the country's constitution.
This not as a one-day event, but as a process. And so far, this is what we have seen in terms of the journalists that I have highlighted, or media houses that have been attacked by political parties, radio stations that we have highlighted in our report. And we are saying that is something that we do not tolerate. We would want to urge political parties to desist from attacking journalists. And we are saying there's need for improvement in terms of protecting journalists when they are doing their work. So if we check the recommendations that we've put, I think you will see what we recommend the government today and in the future.
The Christian Churches Monitoring Group's CCMG says the Electoral Commission of Zambia has done its best so far in conducting the general elections, but that some anomalies were recorded in the process. Addressing the nation through the media, CCMG representative Father Emmanuel Chikoya says the group engaged 1,600 election monitors who have reported these anomalies. Father Chikoya explains that during the process, the electoral body did not fully commit to availing information on various electoral processes. Meanwhile, Father Chikoya says the violent cases recorded can contribute to an unfair election.
Preliminary findings are based on reports from a nationally representative sample of 1,500 polling stations located in every province, district and constituency of the country as of 12 hours on 13th August. Accreditation. Election day accreditation for citizen monitors was unnecessarily burdensome and lacked uniform procedures across all districts. This was contrary to best principles stated by Election Commission's Forum of the SADC region, to which ECZ is a member. Despite these challenges, the CCMG was able to accredit all 1,500 stationary monitors, plus additional supervisors for election day. However, for 31 CCMG monitors, the ECZ did not provide them with an official accreditation card. On election day, several CCMG accredited monitors were initially not permitted into polling stations. While all but one of these issues were ultimately resolved, it delayed the monitoring of the process in some polling stations. Opening of polling stations. Polling stations opened on time, with 96% opened by 6:30 across the country. On average, polling stations had 6 polling officials. The PF and UPND had party agents at 99% of polling stations, and at 80% of polling stations, there was at least one party agent from other political parties. At less than 1% of the polling stations were any materials reported missing during the setup, and at over 99% of polling stations, the presidential ballot box was shown to be empty before being closed and sealed. The voting. At over 99% of polling stations, the basic voting procedures were adhered to, with voters' fingers being checked for indelible ink, voters being required to show their NRC and voter ID card, polling officials checking for voters' names in the voter register, polling officials stamped the presidential ballot paper before issuing it to voters, and voters' fingers were marked with indelible ink. However, there were reports of polling stations running out of ink for the official stamp as well as indelible ink that may have delayed the voting process.
The U.S. government, through the charge d'affaires in Zambia, David Young, has condemned political violence reported from the day of voting. Yesterday, Northwestern Province PF Chairman Jackson Kungo was hacked to death by alleged UPND cadres. Another PF member was killed in Northwestern Province, while in Lusaka, Matero PF candidate Miles Sampa was stabbed in the waist. His bodyguard was also hacked in his head. Mr. Young has further appealed to government to restore back internet connectivity, especially at a crucial time such as this.
Of the U.S. Embassy. We have heard reports of the acts of violence that have happened very tragically around the country. And I want to express on behalf of the U.S. Embassy our profound condolences and sorrow at the loss of life that has been suffered. Mr. Kungo's death in Sulawesi is a terrible tragedy, and the people who did that terrible crime need to be brought to justice. We urge law enforcement and the courts to move forward to make sure that that kind of violence is not.
They want peace to prevail as the country awaits the final announcement of the results. Those interviewed by Camnet News have called on tolerance and coexistence amidst the divergent political views. During an election, can only be one winner. Thus, the need to respect people's desires.
Peace and order is an essential ingredient in maintaining economic development, social order, and political stability. A condition of peace and order facilitates the growth of investments, generates more employment opportunities, and attracts more tourists. That said, residents in Lusaka have called on the country to maintain peace and order even as the country awaits the election results. Camnet TV caught up with some residents along Cairo Road in Lusaka who gave out their views.
Vote counting is still underway. Premature victory celebrations have been claimed by the Reds and the Greens, but the ECZ will have the final say on who is the actual winner after winding up the vote counting process. The streets of Zambia's capital city, Lusaka, are quiet as there is anxiety among the residents as they continue to wait for the final results. Others have opted to stay home until results are announced. It is a rare political climatic condition as the defense forces had to be deployed to help maintain law and order. In Lusaka's Chawama constituency, the people want peace to prevail during this election period.
Betembekeza beba account tabapata bonse tenti kana mtima uzabonso wamusto sa pangendio oro bapunda result tabe bapunda result sankade vomenya na iya we are one Zambia one nation stifuna ndio stifuna murobaya.
And a senior citizen reminds young people of the need to be tolerant of one another so that the country can progress.
Ngaino nshite ama election na tuvota fyo mutembe abo abarefu ayo bulwi tabeshi befyo kire pilibula okulwa umutembe na kumulu kwa ikaro mwineresa kwa mutende filyonse panwe sonde epo bapose lyo mulwani ukuti ale isafe mukufunda ulapye imikalire yae kwefweba lero kulingana ngaine pali lero kuti nachitafye advise kuti lati bela alwana kulu uole sala tupera ati yewa awili uyo wine yewa alaba nikateka ukulwa tekuine nishi wawona apupene ponde koma iloko ebati ukulwa nishi wafirwa okutontonkanya.
The quote by Winston Churchill states that if the human race wishes to have prolonged and indefinite period of material prosperity, they have only got to behave in a peaceful and helpful way toward one another. Patrick Soko, Camnet News in Lusaka.
Residents of Lusaka are anxious about the election results and have called on the masses to maintain peace and order. In an interview with Camnet News, the residents say political party leaders must accept the outcome of the elections. More in the following report.
Peace and order is an essential ingredient in maintaining economic development, social order, and political stability. A condition of peace and order facilitates the growth of investments, generates more employment opportunities, and attracts more tourists. That said, residents in Lusaka have called on the country to maintain peace and order even as the country awaits the election results. Camnet TV caught up with some residents along Cairo Road in Lusaka who gave out their views.
It wasn't like it used to be before. So voting nowadays is becoming so scary. Some of us are even scared to be voting because we might not know what's happening there at the polling station, what's going to happen next. So sometimes we even get scared, we even prefer staying home.
They have appealed to Zambians to remain peaceful and loving towards each other.
Because once that so I'm appealing to all Zambians, being as a Christian nation.
A check by Camnet News found most shops closed as citizens await the latest election results. Blessings Chakwila, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Zikolatu, a consortium of 4 civil society organizations, has challenged ZICTA to explain to the Zambian people why there has been continuous shutdown of certain social media platforms. Speaking at a briefing in Lusaka, Foundation for Democratic Process FODEP Executive Director George Chimembe says the continued shutdown of the platforms has distrusted the free flow of information, causing suspicion and anxiety which will undermine the credibility of the election process. Mr. Chimembe adds that the consortium noted the administrative and logistics challenges on the voting day which might have discouraged some people from exercising their democratic right. Details in the following report.
Zikolatu consortium of 4 civil society organizations, among them Panos Institute, Foundation for Democratic Process FODEP, Non-Governmental Organization Coordinating Committee NGOCC, and more have expressed concerns over the shutting down of certain media platforms during the voting period. FODEP Executive Director George Chimembe wants ZICTA to explain to the Zambian people why this has been the case, saying such undermines the free flow of information, causing suspicion and anxiety which will undermine the credibility of the election process.
We urge them to explain to the Zambians what transpired and rectify it, as the continued shutdown is causing suspicion, anxiety, and has disrupted the free flow of information about the elections, which may undermine the credibility of the electoral process.
The consortium remains concerned over the lapses in the provision of security at the polling station and lack of adherence to the COVID-19 preventive guidelines.
The consortium remains concerned with the lapses in the provision of security at the polling centers. We observed that there were instances where some cadres were trying to force themselves into the polling centers to disrupt the voting process. This was particularly reported at the Olympia Secondary School polling center. We noted general lack of adherence to the COVID-19 5 golden rules. We particularly noted the non-adherence to social distancing. This was posing as a health risk for the voters.
The consortium has since appealed to the Zambian people to remain calm as the transmission and announcements of results continue to come in. Prudence Jota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
You're watching Camnet TV Main News. We'll take a break. We'll be back with more news after the break.
From time immemorial, we have had different types of lighting options, from those that can burn down our investments in minutes to those that dig holes in our pockets due to constant replacement and huge consumption of our ZESCO units. Savenda Electric introduces the new and advanced electric bulb with cutting-edge technology of LED that has low power consumption, gives out bright white light, and lasts up to 25,000 hours. Savenda Electric manufactures all types of LED light, like plastic LED fluorescent tubes, downlights, ceiling lights, outdoor fittings, and solar street lights made to customer specifications. Let's live on the bright side of life by choosing the wide range of Savenda electric lighting solutions that are available in all leading stores and supermarkets countrywide. For orders, call 0962 642 490 or email jnbunda@savenda.com or pchabula@savenda.com.
Good day to you, dear esteemed customers. As ZAMBIA, we're glad to bring something of excitement to you, and it's a promotion we've dubbed Yatu, which simply means it's yours. And in this promotion, we're giving benefits that are tailored to you specifically as a customer, depending on the profile or the segment that you're sitting on as a customer. And in this promotion, we are saying you will get from as low as 13 ngwe benefits amounting to over 500%. And it's all for you so that you get more benefits. So to know more about Yatu, stay on.
Yatu is a promotion that offers ZAMBIA customers amazing benefits that are made just for you. ZAMBIA customers will get amazing benefits of over 500% bonus back the value that they use when they subscribe to a Yatu offer. Yatu benefits will be usable for ZAMBIA to ZAMBIA calls, ZAMBIA to ZAMBIA SMSs, and browsing on pay-as-you-go defined rates. For you to access the amazing Yatu offers, all you have to do is dial *335# and select option 1 to purchase the offer that best suits you. ZAMBIA customers will have the ability to actually purchase the Yatu benefit more than once. So this means you can purchase the offer twice, you can purchase the offer 3 times, and the benefits will be accumulative at the end of the day. Yatu benefits will be able to be redeemed if you subscribe to the same offer within a 5-day period. So if you have unused benefits from the previous day and the expiry date comes, you can still subscribe to the same offer within 5 days and your benefits will be able to accumulate. How amazing is that? For you to check your Yatu benefit balance, all you have to do is dial *335# and select option 2 and you'll be able to see your current balance.
Are you a small to medium enterprise looking to advertise your products and services within your community and across Zambia? In these economic times, we are here to help you grow your business. Advertise with us on Camnet Market. Camnet Market is offering lower rates for prime time advertising between 06 to 18 hours every day to give your business an edge under the new normal and beyond. For more details, contact us on the following numbers: 097 975 3010 or 096 296 5883, as well as 096 244 726. You can also reach us via email on info@camnettvafrica.com. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
Welcome back. We continue with Camnet TV main news. The New Hope Movement for Multi-Party Democracy, MMD, Friday evening, August 13, 2021, has conceded.
This has nothing to do with the fact that the people of Zambia have something against Nevas Mumba or other opposition leaders. Zambians have an agenda and they were resolved that in order to remove the Patriotic Front, they have to sacrifice everyone else, including Nevas Mumba, MMD, and other opposition leaders. They decided to give us even zeros in order to remove the Patriotic Front from government.
And on that basis, we wish to inform the nation that we would like to concede defeat in this particular election. We have noted that this was predominantly a 2-horse race between the PF and the UPND, and therefore appeal to the Republican president and the government to consider providing state security to the UPND presidential candidate, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, because it is evident that based on what is available on the ground, he is likely to win this particular election. And therefore, as per custom, state security needs to be extended to him immediately. We do not need to wait for official results to do that. Thank you.
Patriotic Front Secretary General Davis Mwela has claimed that the party is winning the 2021 general elections with the highest votes from its strongholds, which are yet to be announced. Speaking during a short media briefing in Lusaka Friday morning, Mr. Mwela says according to its PVT, it shows that the party has done well in Lusaka and Copperbelt, though not to their satisfaction. He states that the Electoral Commission of Zambia is the only institution mandated by the Constitution to report and announce official results. Meanwhile, a member of the Central Committee, Given Lubinda, says ZICTA is the right institution to clarify why the internet has been shut down, because the ruling party is also shocked with the development. We have more in this report.
The Patriotic Front Party says there's no sign that the elections won't turn in their favor because victory points to them. The party Secretary General Davis Mwela told the media Friday morning during a media briefing that the idea of losing is not even in their mind.
Our strong Chinga, we have close to 400,000 voters. Our Pula has more than 500,000 voters. Northern Province has more than 500,000 voters. And then Eastern Province has 835. Do the mathematics, it's more than 2 million voters. Then we have Lusaka, we have Copperbelt. That's where strength lies. Of course, we Central Province. So we are very confident.
The results do not turn into your favor. Are you going to accept it? But in case the results do not turn, we are not thinking about it.
And Mr. Mwela says the Electoral Commission of Zambia is the only institution mandated by the Constitution to announce election results.
We are going to win this election. That is coming from ourselves because we are monitoring all the centers because we have the PVT. I don't know where they are monitoring the elections. I can't speak for them. The Electoral Commission of Zambia, they are the ones who are mandated to announce official results, not any other person.
Meanwhile, Central Committee member Mr. Given Lubinda says allegations that some party members were carrying pre-marked ballot papers are false.
Created with this election campaign was purely to intimidate, to create fear in the voting citizens, to create fear in the polling agents of the Patriotic Front. That was the reason for this. There was not a single ballot paper. And we leave it to those who caused all this mayhem to adduce evidence that they found any one ballot paper. As far as we are concerned, the police vindicated all those people who were falsely accused.
Mr. Lubinda further says the party is also in shock that there is shutdown of internet in the country.
Internet off, and all of us were at a loss. We also don't understand why there is a disruption, and I think that ZICTA may be the best to explain why the internet is off. At least for us, the four of us, we are not aware of the reasons why the internet is off.
Miriam Kayemba reporting for Camnet TV News.
United Party for National Development UPND alliance partner Charles Milupi has called for intensive investigations into the violence, incidents and killings that transpired in some parts of the country during the voting period. Speaking at a media briefing in Lusaka, Mr. Milupi says no life deserves to be lost in such a way, and that whoever will be found responsible should be brought to book without favor. Mr. Milupi says the UPND party has on several occasions been accused of being the masterminds of violence, which he says is not true. He has since advised the Zambian police to ensure that they apply the law fairly in bringing order into the country.
Blame as to who is responsible and who is not. We call for thorough investigations. That's what the rule of law demands. Thorough investigations to reveal the perpetrators of these crimes. We say this because history is full of instances where instances of violence were blamed on the UPND when in actual fact turned out to be false. The burning of the city market was blamed on the UPND. It turned out to be otherwise. The gassing of our citizens up and down the length and breadth of this country was initially blamed on the UPND, and it turned out that was not the case. A number of people that have been killed, including the one who was killed in Livingstone, and not only was UPND blamed, but senior officials, including our chairman of elections, Garin Kompo, was actually arrested for that crime. It turned out that that person was killed by fear. And that is why we are calling upon investigative agencies to look into this.
The Human Rights Commission has urged the government to restore internet services to promote the right to access to information and communication through social media platforms. In a media statement availed to Camnet TV, Human Rights Commission Chairperson Madford Mwandenga has stated that concern that the apparent shutdown of internet services is a breach of a constitutional right to freedom of expression. Mr. Mwandenga has explained that the act of shutting down the internet is undemocratic and reminiscent of repressive regimes that are against good governance principles of transparency and accountability. Mr. Mwandenga has further explained that the blocking of the internet service has the potential of creating suspicion, speculations and misinformation in the management of the election results and may result into anxiety and possibly violence. He has since urged respective agencies responsible for managing the local internet gateway to unblock the internet and allow the use of applications such as WhatsApp and Facebook. Former Minister of Labour and Social Security, Faxon Shamenda, has called on the government that will be sworn in to prioritize the creation of decent employment, stating that most forms of employment in the country are not decent. Mr. Shamenda, speaking to Camnet News in an exclusive interview, states that employment such as that of truck drivers lacks social security, which will make it very hard for the country to achieve Sustainable Development Goal number 8, which aims at creating decent employment by 2030.
A person, all the jobs should be permanent. If there is contract labor, it is not supposed to be more than 2 contracts. You can't have somebody who is on perpetual, every 3 years you are renewing their contract for the next 15 or 20 years. That is as good as casualization. So we say there should be 1 contract running. After that, that job, if it is still there, it should be permanent. For permanent jobs, then you have an opportunity where you can get, you are able to get a mortgage. You can go and do hire purchase. But if your job is only for 3 years, the contract is for 3 years, nobody will give you a loan for 25 years. But if you are permanent and pensionable, you can get a loan for 20 years, for 25 years, for 30 years, so that you can have a mortgage and you'll be able to build a house. Those are decent issues for people who are in employment. At the moment, what is happening is, we were saying some of the jobs should only be restricted for the Zambians. And 2, some of the investment which is there, like making blocks, raising of the chickens and other things, those should be left to the Zambians. At the moment, I don't know how many years since we pronounced that pronouncement, it's not there.
Human Street Health Aid Zambia Director Edgar Silwemba says there is a need for more policies that will support menstrual hygiene. In an interview with Camnet TV, Mr. Silwemba says government must introduce deliberate policies whose aim will ensure that sanitary pads are freely given just like other birth control products. He has since called on businessmen in the corporate world dealing with sanitary pads to help make the product become easily accessible. We have more in this report.
Imagine missing out on daily life activities simply because you do not have the money to afford menstrual supplies. Failing to have access to menstrual products leads to one not going to school, missing days at work, and this absence perpetuates a cycle of poverty that is at the core of a public health issue known as menstrual poverty. With the hope of one day ending menstrual poverty among young girls, more calls from different stakeholders are being made to ensure that this goal is achieved. Human Street Healthy Aid Zambia says there's need for deliberate policies that will address menstrual poverty in the country.
We know that there could be deliberate policies to ensure that sanitary pads, menstrual cups are also given for free. It all takes interest, and we know that with the support of NGOs and numerous stakeholders, we know that it's possible to bring menstrual poverty to an end.
He has also expressed concern that the government has not done enough in terms of addressing such issues.
We're not getting enough support from the government. We also hope that the government would place much more emphasis, especially on policy formulation, so that there could be deliberate policies to actually support menstrual hygiene. For example, we should have zero duty on all menstrual products.
Despite its prevalence in society, menstrual poverty is a public health issue that too many people, including policymakers and community leaders, are unaware of. Miriam Kemba for Camnet News.
The Ministry of Health has announced that the country has received an additional 119,200 doses of AstraZeneca. Disclosing to the media in a press statement, Ministry of Health Permanent Secretary Dr. Kennedy Malama has assured all those due for the second dose of AstraZeneca in the coming weeks that the vaccine will be available. Dr. Malama has stated that in the last 24 hours, 1,563 dose 1 and 167 dose 2 AstraZeneca vaccinations, as well as 2,461 doses of Johnson & Johnson were administered. The Permanent Secretary says among those currently admitted, 159, which represents 65%, are on oxygen therapy, and 65, which represent 27%, are in critical condition. Dr. Malama has commended frontline personnel in the COVID-19 response for their dedication to duty, and the results the ministry continue posting are attributed to them. The country has in the last 24 hours recorded 97 new confirmed COVID-19 cases out of 2,529 tests, representing 4% positivity, and 3 new confirmed deaths. You're watching Camnet TV News. We'll take another break. We'll be back with more news after the break.
At Master Signs, our services range from outdoor, indoor signage such as billboards, banners, 3D light boxes, pylons and neon signs. We are located at plot number 397A, Makeni Road, Lusaka, at Oryx Filling Station. For more details, call us on +260 967 100 090 or +260 966 999 981, or better still, email us at infomastersign@gmail.com. Master Sign, we will make it shine.
Your skin is the biggest muscle in your body. That's why we make sure that Oracle is #1 when it comes to taking care of your precious skin. Oracle Pure Petroleum Jelly and Glycerin soothes, moisturizes and keeps your skin perfect. Oracle Pure Petroleum products for that perfect skin.
In this fast-paced era of industrial boom and population growth, there is need to invest in smart ways of managing electricity and water consumption and reducing utility billing costs associated with the postpaid billing system. At Savenda Electronics, we manufacture right here in Zambia different types of high-quality smart electricity and water meters to customer specifications. Savenda Electronics water and electricity meters help you monitor your usage and gives notifications such as low units, tampering, low battery and many other features. These easy-to-use meters makes it easier to buy units even in these COVID times and top up just from the comfort of your space. Favorable contract terms are available to both electricity and water utilities. For more details, get in touch with us on the following numbers: 0956 580 349 or 0977 498 318. Savenda Electronics, the real deal.
Africa is rising to a new dawn of integrity and accountability. Are you tired of being swindled or buying fake or illegal properties? Would you like to sell or buy genuine property? Would you like to list your property on both local and international market? Don't waste your time. Call the professionals, the SGK Properties, on +260 762 166 018. SGK Properties. Your business assurance is our priority.
Welcome back. We continue. And in international news, the governor of Mozambique's northern Cabo Delgado province said Thursday that the city of Maquimbao da Praia was safe for people to return. It was retaken from Islamist insurgents by a joint force of Rwandan and government forces on Sunday. After being overrun in August 2020, the town became the de facto headquarters of the Islamic State-linked extremists, who are locally referred to as Al-Shabaab. Buoyed by the presence of security forces, a few families have returned to the area. In other news, more than 4,000 houses collapsed and 52 people died. In Niamey, the village of Gora is one of the most affected villages, where more than 80% of the houses were washed away, leaving the population in distress. Here's a roundup of international news.
Rwandan soldiers patrolled the port city of Mozambique da Praia Thursday after helping Mozambican forces retake it from insurgents on Sunday. The joint force is now in control of the city's container port and the airport. The militants abandoned the city without much resistance. After being overrun in August 2020, Mozambique da Praia became the de facto headquarters of the Islamic State-linked extremists, who are locally known as Al-Shabaab.
So we spent 4 days consecutively fighting to this area, and the enemy was trying to attack us since his center of gravity was under fire. At the end, we managed to export him, and we attacked another position towards the Apomea.
Buoyed by the presence of security forces, a few families have returned to the area. Mozambique's northern Cabo Delgado province has been caught up in a militant insurgency since 2017.
With this force which has been done to put them out of this city, so people, of course, they have to be happy. All of us, we are happy because now we know that Musimba is in good condition for the people to return and live.
Maputo had lost control of key towns in the area until the arrival of Rwandan forces. The 1,000-man Rwandan contingent was joined in late July by a multinational force dispatched by regional bloc SADC.
Faced with the scale of a natural disaster, pleas for help are multiplying in Algeria. On Thursday, blazes raged across the north as Algeria observed a national day of mourning for dozens of people killed in the latest wildfires to sweep the Mediterranean. The North African country has been in the grip of devastating fires since Monday that have claimed at least 69 lives. They include 41 civilians and 28 soldiers. In the next 2 days, we're planning departures to Tizi Ouzou, then we will organize departures to Skida, Beja, and all other regions that have been affected. Soldiers and civilian volunteers have joined firefighters on multiple fronts in their efforts to extinguish the blazes that have been fanned by windy and tinder-dry conditions. This time it was really exceptional. We received a lot of donations, but also a lot of volunteers, a lot of people who contact us from morning till night. We receive calls all the time to give donations, to come and help, to ask what to do, because people are lost. They don't know what to do. Efforts to overcome the blazes are continuing in many regions. Each summer, Algeria endures seasonal wildfires, but rarely anything approaching this year's disaster. Meteorologists expect temperatures to reach nearly 50 degrees before the end of the week.
Heavy rainfall in Niger triggered severe flooding in several parts of the country on August 11. More than 4,000 houses collapsed and 52 people died. In Niamey, the village of Gubagura is one of the most affected villages, where more than 80% of the houses were washed away, leaving the population in distress. This is my house. This is our house. I lost everything. You could see even the beds that are there. So now, where I'm talking, I have no food. I don't know where I'm going to. When the water level dropped a little, I decided to go and see my house. At that moment, my wife took my children and others to cross the valley, while the current of the water has the strength to carry away a child. There have been 6 reported cases of death as a result of the floods in Niamey, according to the fire department. Colonel Sidi Mohammed says his team are constantly on the alert to provide assistance to the victims. He partly blamed the misfortunes on human activities.
C'est vraiment des causes humaines. C'est la population.
One of the major causes of these floods, in fact, these disasters, is really human causes. The population lives in places that are extremely sensitive, swampy places, places that are said to be technically unsuitable for construction.
Niamey,
for the 3rd year in a row, lives with the flooding in this village of Gabogora and the 5th district of Niamey. The population has lost almost everything, not to mention all, since several houses have collapsed. Significant property losses have been caused by the floods.
Emporté par les eaux. Abdul Karim Mahamadou à Niamey pour Africa News.
It's now time for sports news. And in sports news, OYDC Zambia Sports Development Center is set to resume all sports activities which were suspended on the 17th of June 2021. The suspension was necessitated by a surge in COVID-19 cases. OYDC Zambia CEO Dr. Frederick Chitangala says the activities will resume with training on the 16th of August 2021, while competitions such as the Tollings Youth Sports Challenge will commence on the 21st of August 2021. The 11 sports disciplines which were suspended are football, boxing, tekeball, handball, netball, hockey, rugby, and beach volleyball, judo, basketball, and taekwondo.
Group C of the Women COSAFA tournament is headed by 2019 finalist Zambia, who have been so close to winning the tournament in the past but remain without success, as well as Namibia, Eswatini, and another guest nation, Uganda. This year's competition will take on an additional significance as it comes a month before the start of the qualifiers for the 2022 Africa Women's Cup of Nations that are scheduled to begin in October. A soccer fan has called on the country to support the Copper Queens ahead of the COSAFA Games.
A win would be great, but if they don't, we're still behind them, and we want just to say that it's important that they know that the nation is behind them. We as their fans are behind them, and we want to just see them do the very, very best that they can. So if they can come out with a win, we'll be very, very happy, and even if they don't come out with a win, our support will still be with them.
Mr. Chitalo has since called on the young people to embrace the sports culture.
Being active is very good for your health and just for your mental state, you know. If you don't participate in sports, like say for example soccer or any other, you can still be active by participating in exercises.
The Women's Cup of Nations will supply the African representatives for the 2023 FIFA Women's World Cup in Australia and New Zealand. Blessings Shakwila, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Meanwhile, a football fan says he is happy that the Copper Queens will be participating in the forthcoming Women COSAFA Games to be held in South Africa. In an interview with Camnet Sports, Mushimbe Chitalu has since called on the country to support the Queens as they prepare for the competitions. That sporting items brings us to the end of the news, but we take a look at the headlines once more. ECZ officials walk out of the stage after a query from stakeholders. The USA advises the Zambian government not to interrupt internet connectivity. And MMD, PEP, Socialist and Golden Party concede defeat. In international news, Civilian authorities returned to Mozambique city retaken from rebels. And in sports news, OYDC Zambia is set to resume all sporting activities. We now look at the Camnet verse for the day, which is coming from Proverbs 22, verse 4 to 5, and it reads, "The result of humility is fear of the Lord, along with wealth, honor, and life. There are thorns and snares on the path of the crooked. The one who guards himself stays far from them." On that note, we've come to the end of the news. Thanks for watching Camnet TV Main News. My name is Jeffrey Ziambo. Bye-bye.